I feel like the motor is locked up at this point, so I'm not sure. It was odd once it built oil pressure, you know, things just seemed to have locked up, and that was that.
There's only other side to this. I did buy freaking dumb squishy lines.
What's going on?
So, you know, just pulling a motor. It's just a Tuesday morning, having a good time.
Somebody's day off and vacation.
Yeah, I come down to Texas for vacation and get put to work. Surprised, but not surprised.
You did bring your work shoes though.
I did.
So you knew you were gonna work.
I knew this this motor yank was gonna happen.
And Charles broke it, so he's gotta help.
Never gonna live that down.
Well, here we are. Welcome back to the infamous project down in Texas, and hoping to have the shop truck up and running here shortly. So Jordan's visiting down from Canada, aka Mr. Notorious, and then we got Charles slash, actually we'll call you Curative Charles. There's a good name. So helping out, seeing if we can't yank this motor and get this freshly rebuilt one in. Got this off a gentleman out of Georgia. He's rebuilt, he said, over 100 of these things, and sent me a video of some pretty crazy setups. Compound boost Lightning that he had, that was like some plum crazy purple paint, and he had this one ready to go on the stand. So I got this picked up and brought over, so it's hopefully going to give us a little bit more life in the truck. So Jordan here has been fighting some of the bolts, this Kenny Bell and custom plenum in the top. Had to do some massaging up in here in the firewall. That got pounded in at one point. I installed this actually.
No. Precision massage.
Precision massage.
And finagled.
And finagled. So this was actually all done in Dubai, the top end stuff. These parts were actually on my friend Lewis's truck. If you guys saw a couple videos I did out of his garage in Florida, the Sonic Blue Lightning. This was the top part of the built motor that was originally in that truck. So looks like we're almost about to lift this blower and plenum off.
Possibly.
Maybe.
Give her a little,
Is it stuck?
yeah. Just give me a little pry.
Oh, there must have been a little goo on there too.
Oh yeah, there's more than a little.
That's that Dubai goo. Oh, yeah, you guys are getting the intercooler with it.
Oh,
that's why.
I was like, this is not just coming out.
Yeah, no, the intercooler's stuck to it. Rather than trying to flex.
So you'll have to get the
intercooler.
This coolant shit off. Actually, you might need to get. Oh, it is off.
Should be all off.
Push it back, Chris. There you go, hold it right there.
You want to pop that side a little bit with the pry bar?
It's loose, I just got to get to the right spot.
It also really helps if the truck's like raised up and stuff. Is there a stud on that side?
There might be one of the. There you go.
Yes.
Bam.
Lineup dowel. All right.
How's the intercooler look?
Mint.
Sweet.
Did you clean that since I did last?
Yeah.
It looks good.
Well, no, because this is the. When I put all that on, I had it all apart.
So now the motor should just pop right out.
Yeah, just yank it. It's ready to come out. So I've actually already been underneath the truck. Got the torque converter bolts off. One side of the motor mounts off. Power steering pump. The AC compressor is actually the one bolt. Unless I can get a wrench in there, will probably lift the motor up a little bit, and it'll be easier to get it off. And got to get the motor mounts on that side and drain out the coolant, and hopefully this thing will be out sooner than later. Pretty good headway here. Got our coolant system all removed. Got the blower, plenum, lots of the wiring, all of the headers are loosened off. And Jordan is now underneath the truck. And when we pulled the dipstick tube out, it was full. Like leaking out the dipstick hole, which it normally wouldn't.
Yeah, signs of being overfilled.
So if you actually look at the color of that fluid coming out of, that's the drain plug, guys.
This is why it's
oil.
overfilled.
I was checking to see if y'all had any intake gaskets.
So this is part of the problem. You know, although the timing chain cover got wrecked when the tensioner blew, there was clearly a head gasket issue for a while here, and we're still
a separate issue.
he just wants to get out of the excuse of blowing up the truck. Maybe you were boosting it too much, because it was fine when I was driving it.
There is no boost.
You always boost.
No. Sorry. Yeah.
That's a lot of coolant.
Yeah, I'm gonna say we probably had a bit of a hydrolock situation, potentially, when you were trying to
Yeah.
get it running last time.
Yeah, because as soon as it built oil pressure, that was it.
Yeah, it
Clunk,
stopped.
done.
Yeah.
Damn.
Maybe you can speed
That
it up
whole
a little
rad is in. Yeah, you're splattering everywhere.
Oh, it's that, or yank the drain plug right out.
Oh, dude, just pull it.
bit. Oh yeah.
Yeah, look, that's beauty.
Might need
Look at how much coolant's in there. Damn.
How does that actually happen though? There's no way that much. Oh look, the flow is slowing down.
Oh, here we go. Oil's about to come.
We're getting there, we're getting there.
Oil on top. Look at how cool that looks. I'm getting it on video.
Lava lamp.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's exactly what you don't want, and definitely got to the bottom of that problem. And I think pretty much all of the coolant that belonged in the radiator was actually in the motor. So when I was rolling the truck over, and as soon as it built oil pressure in that video that I did on it, it must have just hydrolocked itself up, and that was it. So hopefully the block is okay, because I'll be able to use that, get that built up. And for now, we'll get this guy out of here. You have to pull off this intake, and that needs to get bolted on the new motor over here. We'll swap over our sensors and all that other good stuff, accessories, and be able to get that in. And maybe we'll be driving tonight, tomorrow. Depends how many beers we have. All right, guys, it's the next morning here at the shop. Might be able to tell my hat is now different. So we managed to get the motor out yesterday, and pretty good headway. I think it was right before lunch, and we had some other stuff going on, got some friends down here visiting. So can't keep everything car related, but like I said, we made some really good headway. So we did go down to O'Reilly's, picked up some parts that we're going to need, picked up some new intake manifold gaskets, picked up a new thermostat gasket for the thermostat housing. We got some fresh engine oil, which we'll be running some 530 conventional through it to put on some break-in miles, and that's about it. So what we're going to have to do now is start getting organized with all our parts, because they're literally kind of everywhere. We tried to be as organized as we could be. Everything from these bolts over here, which I don't necessarily even remember off the top of my head, blower bolts. Then we have intake manifold bolts and intercooler bolts. Obviously, we have the intake manifold sitting down there, the blowers over there, I got header there. Oh, new motor mounts. Those are getting picked up today as well, because the mounts that were on the motor were the original ones with close to 200,000 miles. So you see the intercooler sitting down there. There was a brand new water pump on that motor, so that's going to get swapped out and installed over here. There's already a crank sensor in this motor, so we're going to have to get the lower cage pulley transferred over here and pulled off this motor as well. So lots of stuff to do, and I'm really excited to have this truck running and on the road again. As you guys can imagine, it's unbelievable how much coolant came out of that oil pan. Like, there was more coolant in this motor than there actually was in the radiator, if you can believe it. Are you the new motor?
Heck yeah.
Can you make boost noises?
Turbo noises are easier.
No, you gotta make a Kenny Bell sound.
I haven't heard a Kenny Bell for a while.
Root style.
Root style?
Good attempt, good attempt. So here we are, almost have everything. Actually, everything is off this now.
Yeah.
We got our studs for the headers off, cage pulley, all that stuff is off, wiring harness, everything is pretty much on here. We aren't going to put the cage pulley on until this is in the truck, just to make our lives easier, give us some more room. And we just got to sort out the motor mounts and then get our flex plate and all that sorted out there. All right, guys, so we're trucking along here. No pun intended, I guess. Soon to be trucking along, but hopefully behind the steering wheel. You can see Jordan's over here with a razor blade getting some prior gasket goo, right stuff, gasket maker, silicone.
Cleaning away.
God knows what was put down there, but that was actually skimmed on before the metal gasket. So these metal gaskets are in fact reusable, which Jordan is holding up right now. And
there.
If your blower is on and off multiple times, I could see rubbing a skim coat on there just as some added insurance, but it is a little bit of a pain to get off. A Scotch-Brite pad on little die grinder would go a long way right now, but this is all about DIY in your own garage right now.
Hey, we don't have one.
So preparation on your surfaces and everything is critical, especially if you want a longer term fix. So getting all that previous material off is key. Having a nice clean surface, it'll be prepped and ready to last for a long time. Similarly, over here, I have the gasket for the oil cooler distribution center down here on the ground. So this guy actually goes onto your rad hose and allows coolant to get pumped through this system prior to your oil filter, helps cool down your oil, and also is the main supply through the block here to get your coolant through. So this coolant hose that actually goes on all this is looks like a spider, and that was actually recently replaced on my truck before the motor catastrophe. So that's all in good shape. So same thing, got the surfaces all clean here and prepped out, and brand new gasket. So we'll get that in, get this bolted on, and that'll be one thing we don't have to worry about once it's in the truck, because once you have your motor mount and everything else, it can make things a little bit more challenging on the underside, especially since we don't have a lift here. So we'll get this bolted on. We'll get as much stuff prepped and cleaned up as possible. Simple things like running your bolts through a wire wheel gets them cleaned up and looking almost like brand new, which is pretty sweet. So did that, you know, it just gets the corrosion and everything else off. You know, if something does need to come apart in the future, you don't want that corrosion welding your bolt into an area that if it snaps is going to make your life even more difficult. So quick little note there. Then we'll get the exhaust or the header studs all ready to go as well, which we've taken out of the other motor. Did you put these two in, or were they already in here?
There was 3 in there. I took those out, cleaned them up, put them back in.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So a little bit of one less thing to do right there. So anyways, we'll get this bolted on and carry on. What you doing?
Drilling out the only broken bolt in the entire engine swap was for an AC condenser.
So I couldn't tell you when the GoPro died, but we had the motor in. Now the motor's back out. And the front bumper cover is off because we actually need more travel because the piston hydraulic section of the cherry picker was crushing into the front bumper cover. We had the issue when we were pulling it out, but pulling things out is a little bit different because we were trying to use the natural force to pull the motor out. Now that we actually need to go in, things are a little bit different. So that came out, and front bumper cover came off, and also had to swap the crank pulley over because the one that was on this motor doesn't have the threaded section down here for the cage pulley setup, which is in fact a stock Lightning setup on the lower side. If you're running an aftermarket pulley, you wouldn't need these threads because they would just end up bolting on to the inside section on the inside here of the crank pulley. So whatever, it is what it is. Otherwise, we got the motor in and we got the motor out, and we'll get the motor back in again, and hopefully start feeling like we're making a little bit more headway tonight. But it is what it is. We got beer, so we should be good to go.
Motor's got to go further back for me to even be able to do that. Just got to go back another inch and come down 2.
Well, it'll be very close to an inch here. That's all I can do.
All right, you need to, what happened?
I push the cherry picker into the bumper. Like the babies.
Okay, so it needs to come forward.
Forward now?
Yep.
How
and
much?
Down, because you're actually on the torque converter studs.
Oh.
So, give me a pry bar.
There we go. All right, guys, welcome to the underside of the truck, and it is motor / torque converter to flex plate alignment time, and this sucks. Been wrestling this for a couple hours from the top, from the bottom, side to side. We're hoping we can get it done. Okay, rotate. Okay, a little more. Okay, right there. All right, guys, you can probably see there's daylight in the shop doors behind us. And what does that mean? Well, it means it's the next day. And we had a pretty late night last night, and it just got to that point where nothing was going in a positive enough direction to make you want to keep going. So we opted to just leave things as is, get some rest, and come back with a fresh set of eyes and fresh motivation and persistence and dedication. So we've been back in here for just shy of an hour, and all of the hurdles we were facing last night we have overcome, and that mainly was the getting the torque converter studs through the flex plate and having the motor and transmission lined up so we could actually start getting bolts in it. So we've successfully done that after jacking, crawling, fighting, banging, all those good things. And it's pretty much going to be the home stretch here and remembering where everything went that we took out. So pretty excited for that. Taking a little bit longer than we would have liked, but that is the joys of working on the ground. And with what you've got, you know, stupid little things like having to take the front bumper cover off so we could get enough clearance to get the motor back in far enough, and everything else just kind of added to the challenges that we faced. But hey, it's in, and hopefully We'll see how Thanksgiving goes today. If we eat too much turkey and get sleepy and this becomes a tomorrow thing, or we get more amped up and more motivated and see if we can't get this thing to fire.